My intention for each and every one of you is to move through this time that we have together and leave this time together radically and dramatically changed, transformed, uplifted, evolved, expanded, elevated, awakened, activated, whatever qualities are calling you. And for all of us as a community here, that when one of us rises, we all rise together. Welcome all of you, and I'm so deeply grateful to get to share a healing, transformational, evolutionary journey with each and all of you today. And so with that said, I would love for everyone to just take a moment and close your eyes if it feels right to you. You may already know this, but place your hand on your heart and call forward something that is real and meaningful in your life right now that you would like to work with. I want you to call forward something within you. It does not need to be huge. It just needs to be something that's real, that's meaningful to you, that by the end of our time together, you would experience inside of your body, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, an activation, a transformation. And when that comes to you, hear it in the form of a sentence. My intention is, and you're working with, and whatever your desired outcome, write what it is that you are intending to experience. It could be you're working with a relationship in your life. You're working with your relationship with your own body, with a health condition, with your finance, with a child, a parent, a family member, your own relationship with yourself, something that maybe you're grappling with. I want you to use this time together to prove out to yourself that in a few short moments together, you have the dominion, you have the capacity to absolutely transform your own consciousness from where you're starting now, even if it's on high. Where you are right now is just a starting point. We're going to dive into what is the quantum field, and then what in particular is quantum healing. So I like to use, some of you have seen me use this before, I like to use objects so that visually you can get an idea of taking something that can be abstract, like quantum healing, quantum energy, the quantum field, and we want to make it as tangible, as practical, as real as we possibly can. So you're going to be working with what your intention is. And the first place we start with the quantum field. So what do we know about the quantum field? The quantum field is your ability and your capacity to hold many different energetic frequencies within yourself at the same time. We had the capacity to only hold one thing at a time. We could only hold love or fear. We could only hold abundance or lack. And moving into a quantum field, a quantum reality, a quantum way of holding your consciousness, we recognize that everything is frequency. And so there's many different frequencies going on at the same time. And if you're experiencing a fear or lack, that is simply a lower frequency of love. Everything is love. In the quantum field, in the infinite presence, in this universe, one verse, one energy, it is the energy of love. But love has many, 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 many different frequencies. And so I like to use this golden cord. This is your true nature, and this is the nature of this universe. It is loving, it's golden, it's infinite potentiality, infinite creativity, infinite possibilities, abundance, prosperity, perfect, radiant, vital, dynamic, health, wholeness. This is your true nature. When you were born, when you were an infant lying on a bed, before the world conditioned you, before you had conditioned thought from that which is around you, you knew yourself to be. Every infant coming in knows themselves to be what? Know yourself to be light. If you think of or have ever experienced an infant lying in a bed, they are enamored with the light. They can look out of a window and the rays of light fascinate them for hours. Why? Because they are recognizing their true nature. They're being mirrored. And you, when you were an infant, were mirrored, reflected back that you are light, all light, only light. Whatever language you were taught, be it English, Spanish, German, French, that is not your first language. Your first language, your soul language, your true language, the language that unifies all of us is the language and the energy of love. You are love, and energy is your first language. How do we know this? Because you could think of yourself as an infant, innocent, pure, before condition. You can imagine yourself that, and you can feel the presence of someone coming at you. You can feel the presence of whether they are open-hearted, whether they are protected, whether they have walls around them, whether they are shining their light, whether they are hiding their light. Is it true that you can feel someone else's energy? This is a feeling universe. And so when we talk about quantum healing, we're talking about a feeling of wholeness. That means that as an infant, you began your journey into the conditioned world. Every one of us was born, and whether it was in hour one, minute one, day one, week one, month one, decade one, at some point, we are inundated with the conditioning of this world because we chose to come on this planet. So at some point, we are conditioned. And every one of us experiences that in a different way in a different time. So you, at one moment, your truest self that will never change, regardless of your conditioning, you are golden, you're light, you're effervescent, you are whole, you're perfect. So this is your true nature, that life happened, something that your soul set up for you to move through and work through. I call this a knot in your consciousness. Maybe you were not cared for. Maybe you were bullied when you were young. Maybe you had health challenges when you were young, challenges with your body temple. You experienced financial lack. We all enter into a conditioned 3D reality. So far that makes sense. We have your true nature, and then you experience whatever life has brought to you. What I want you to really take away is that quantum means you have the ability and the capacity to both know yourself as whole and perfect, and you have the ability to have free will. We were all given free will, meaning you could relate to this knot. You could relate to not being cared for. You could relate to going through financial challenges. You could relate to health challenges. You have the free will to relate to those things in whatever way you first were conditioned, but now choose. So as you begin to recognize that some of the knots in your consciousness are coagulated thought forms, coagulated energies of coagulated stories and calcified beliefs that you have just held over and over and over and over about yourself, what starts to happen is that you began to think of yourself as the knot rather than thinking of yourself as a quantum being that is golden, that is full of light, that is whole, that is perfect, that is moving through an experience in your life. You must understand the difference of these two things. It's radically different to have an understanding and an awareness that you are a whole, perfect being. And yes, we are not denying you may be going through a financial challenge, a health challenge, whatever you wrote. It is though, how will you identify yourself? It will change everything. If I identify myself as the light, as a whole, bright, infinite being that is moving through a challenge or has a challenge moving through me, I will recognize that this knot is made of the same energy that is my wholeness. So it's just when I change my perception, when I change my relationship to what is happening, this knot is either going to begin to untangle, or if I start judging myself for whatever I'm moving through, or thinking that I am lack, thinking that I am not whole, thinking that I am broken and needing to be fixed, which I have believed all of those things about myself at some time in my life. So if I can shift in a quantum field the way I relate to whatever is happening in my life, I know that you can too. When you begin to see it differently, you will see that this knot will untangle itself in your life. Another way to look at it is, if everything is love, and if everything is happening for you, even the challenge that you wrote, if it is happening for you, and if love is the highest frequency, and if love is what heals us all, then I can look at this knot and see this is a place inside of me that needs more love. And if you are willing to love this place rather than judge this place, the love that you apply will begin to untangle this knot. So I'm going to show it to you in a couple of other different ways right now. So this is what I call the spiral of transformation. We can heal linearly, but most of the time, healing happens in a spiral. You move from one level of consciousness up to your next level of consciousness, your next level of consciousness. When one begins to center ourselves, what happens immediately? We raise our frequency and vibration. The moment someone tells you the truth about yourself, you are whole, you are safe, you are cared for, you are loved, you are not broken, you are enough. The moment you hear that in a centering, in an evocation, with an affirmation, immediately your own frequency rises. That's why we always start with a centering, an intention, an evocation, because we want our frequency to rise from the very, very, very beginning. Then it is simply a question of practicing the ways to keep our frequency, our consciousness in an elevated state. So going back to the golden cord, let me show you this photo. When we experience something in life, whatever it is that you're working with tonight, at some moment, you may forget that you are actually the light, you are actually wholeness and love, experiencing a knot, a tangle, a hurt, a betrayal, something in your world. And you forget that you are the very light itself. Within the midst of any tangle, within the midst of any life situation or circumstance, at the center, at the core of your being, you are light. You are love. And this is how we enter into the quantum field, where we don't need to spiritually bypass anymore. We can say, I am light, I am love, and I am experiencing a tangle. I am experiencing a seeming lack. with my finance, a seeming challenge with my health, a seeming relationship challenge with my child. But at the core of me, at the core of the child, at the core of every individual on planet Earth, at the core of our humanity, we are each and all light. That is all we are. And when you have the practice, the discipline of continuing to feel the feeling of what it feels like to know your wholeness, you do not need to deny that you are moving through a challenge, but this light is so powerful that it's going to assist you to untangle whatever knots you're moving through. Another way to look at this is, do you see this centered dot here? This center dot represents a knot in your consciousness. This line around it represents your consciousness, how you're holding it, the quantum field. I'm not going to change the size of this dot. It's going to stay exactly the same size, but look what happens. This dot is exactly the same size, but when you expand your consciousness around your issue, your entire perspective changes. And rather than thinking you are and allowing whatever issue you're working through to consume your consciousness, and you to think that you are this, and to have it just extricate all of your attention, when you expand your consciousness, this becomes smaller. It's just like when you get on a flight and the airplane takes off. When you're on the ground, the buildings on the ground look large. When you elevate your consciousness, when you expand your consciousness, lift your consciousness, then you have the larger, greater perspective. Your perspective changes. When your perspective changes and you realize, I am so much greater than whatever I'm moving through, that's your first step to healing. I am so much greater than the thing I'm moving through. It's either going to feel like it's consuming you, or you are going to be able to understand, I'm so much larger and greater than this. Often, when we're dealing with a financial issue, whatever issue, a relationship issue, here's the issue. Often what happens is we worry about the issue. We feel fearful about the issue. We feel frustrated. We feel judgmental. We judge others or we judge ourselves. We sabotage ourselves. We feel shame. When we are experiencing any kind of worry, doubt, shame, judgment, criticism, hopelessness, that has a tendency to hold in place the very issue that you're working through. So you unintentionally hold this place in place. However, when you begin to recognize that you are a light-filled, love-filled being, you have the mandate to bring your love to this issue. So if you're moving through a health challenge, you want to do what is antithetical, what is counterintuitive. We're taught, if I have a health diagnosis, I want to move away from it. I don't want that to be happening in my world. And I'm telling you, your mandate is to actually be counterintuitive. You want to move to it. Remember, I said a few moments ago, this is the place inside of you that needs more love. You want to bring all the love you can muster to whatever you're going through. And when you begin to do that, this issue, whatever it is that you're moving through, begins to dissolve. And you end up alchemizing and dissolving whatever has moved through you. I'm going to show you in a very tangible way. So let's say you're having a health issue or a relationship issue. Let's say you're feeling angry, you're feeling defensive, you're feeling protected, rageful, you're feeling anxious or stressed, you're feeling unsupported or rejected. I call this inflamed emotions. These are inflamed, like in your body temple. If you're eating a certain kind of way, your body is going to experience inflammation. And the inflammation around your organs keep the health and the oxygenated cells from getting into your organs. So when you are experiencing impatience, reactivity, these are the places we all feel them. We all experience them. Every one of us experiences feelings of betrayal or sadness, hurt, fear, feeling separate, feeling alone. All I want to describe to you is that you have the ability to bring love to these places. The place inside of you that's having such a hard time with your health challenge. It can be hard when we're having a challenge with a family member or our own body temple. It's understandable that we would have these feelings. It's very understandable. And yet, you have the dominion, you have the capacity to be bringing love to these places. So then it becomes, what in the heck does love feel like, sound like? What in the world does it feel like to bring love to a place that feels betrayed or rejected or alone or lonely? It looks and sounds something like this. You're saying to the very place inside of you that's hurting, that's tangled, that's knotted, you are not alone. You are enough exactly as you are. So I want you to begin, as you're hearing me say these phrases, I want you to just gently close your eyes, place your hand on your heart, call forward the very intention that you have, make it real. Some of you are looking for clarity. Some of you are looking for to know that you are enough. I want you to begin to hear my voice and allow my voice and these words to wash over you and speak to the place inside of you that is longing to hear this from somewhere, someone, someplace, somehow. That you are not alone. That you are enough exactly as you are. That you are here for yourself. Say that to yourself. I am here for myself. I am not alone. Say to yourself, say to the place that's knotted in consciousness, I love you. I'm here for you. I see that you are hurting and I see your essence. You are safe in my heart. You are supported in my heart. I will support us through this. Everything is working out. Everything here is for me. I see you. I love you. And as you do, I want you to just gently open your eyes as you apply the feeling of things like it's so understandable that you just want this to be over. It's so understandable that you just want to get to the other side. It's so understandable that you would just, whatever it is, when you hear these words that are loving, that are kind, that are full of compassion, love, kindness, compassion. These are the highest frequencies This is the highest vibration. This is the elevated energy. When you apply that to yourself, to the very place inside of you that's hurting, what happens? The red, the inflamed, do you see this red inflamed place? It's not so solid anymore. See how solid it was here? Because you're focused on the anger, the defensiveness. When you start applying love to your own self, you're not alone. I am here with you. I see you. You are enough exactly as you are. Your consciousness alchemizes. Your consciousness expands. Your consciousness, the tangled places, the knotted places, the hard places, the calcified thoughts, the calcified energy, it begins to dissipate. It begins to dissolve. And you can see here, there's still some red, but it's dotted. And that means the light that you are, your essence, can come out, and the light that is around you can come in. When you bring light to the places that hurt, when you bring light to the places that are knotted, you open space up. When you bring light to the places inside of you that feel hurt, what happens? You end up with light inside, light around, and the knots dissipate, they dissolve. It's why we always say we're not here to solve problems. We're here to allow that energy to dissolve. And what you end up with is a consciousness that is full of light. So the idea in the quantum field, healing is softening. Healing is when we have had calcified experiences, patterns, thoughts, ways of being. We've been hurt for a very long time. And we make up these stories, and it's understandable. I'm not good enough. It's possible for everyone else. It's not possible for me. Here I am again in the same situation. Those places inside of you, they need love. They need compassion. They need embrace. They need connection. They're feeling alone. When you bring love to the places inside of you that are hurting, you are no longer alone. And when you are united in your own consciousness, then you allow these knots to begin to dissipate. It's the love that you bring that is going to allow this to dissipate. When it begins to dissipate, you feel a softening. You feel your nervous system softening. So far, do you feel your nervous system softening? Because I have a saying that you transform the most effectively to the degree that you are the most relaxed. The more relaxed you are, the more open you are. The more open you are, the more receptive you are. The more receptive you are, the easier you heal. So it's counterintuitive. If you have just gotten a health diagnosis, culture doesn't tell you to relax. I'm telling you to relax. Apply love, you will relax. When your nervous system softens, when your nervous system begins to relax, this is your entry point. Because now you're more malleable. Now you're not so tightly wound around this issue you're having with your child or with your in-law or a health challenge or a financial challenge. We want the love to soften you. Another way I want to show you is call forward the thing that you're working with. And I like to use little stuffies. Let's say that I had a health issue. So this little guy is going to represent this health issue. There was uncertainty around what was going on in my body temple. This health issue, it needs love. It needs support. It needs to be connected. It doesn't need to be out there, me judging it. It needs to be loved. It needs to be embraced. I need to say, it's so understandable that you're scared. It's so understandable that you would be concerned. It's so understandable that you don't know what's going to happen next. It's so understandable that you're grappling with this. You want to begin to say phrases like that and treat yourself with the specific place like a place inside of you that needs more love. Why? Because love heals. It is a practice. It is a way of life. If your health challenge, your challenge with a child, a family member, if it's been going on for a while, it's easy to begin to judge it or to judge yourself or to sabotage or to criticize or to project. So the practice every day, all day, is to be willing to love the place inside that hurts. So back to the quantum field is you can be golden, you can be love, light, and you can be experiencing a challenge. And when you bring your own love to the challenge must dissipate. The second step to allow this not to dissipate, and that is when you begin to have a relationship, a human, loving, kind relationship with the place inside of you that you're working with. Let's just do it. So gently close your eyes again. Place your hand on your heart. Call forward the thing that you're working with. Feel love. It's very understandable. It may be uncomfortable. It may be painful. It may be chronic. Whatever it is, you're saying it's so understandable. I'm right here. I see you. I love you. I'm with you. I'm not going anywhere. And I believe that you have a message for me. I believe that you know that there is a meaning here. And I just want you to listen. What is the meaning? What is the message? That whatever it is that you're working with, when you hear that meaning, when you hear that message, gently open your eyes. It's probably going to be a word, a little phrase, whatever your intention was at the beginning. You're working with that place, be it a financial, a relationship issue, something with your body, and you're asking that place inside of you that's hurting, that has a pain, what is the message here for me? Stop being judgmental. Care for your heart. Trust. Let it go. I am more than this. More time with God. You already have everything you need. Consistency, compassion, trust, and watch miracles happen. You are safe. You are loved. You are loved no matter what. Be kind to me. Peace within. You are worthy of health, healing, and wholeness. Do you feel the wisdom that is here? So, that is the wisdom that's coming from inside of you. And when you apply that wisdom to yourself, that which has been calcified can begin to relax, can begin to dissolve, and can begin to give you the meaning. And when you get the meaning, then this is when you know you've healed. When you receive the message, you hear the message, when you practice that message with yourself over and over and over again, you take not the experience of the hurt with you or the pain with you, you take the message with you. You take the meaning with you. The message becomes your mission. The meaning becomes your mission. So from this moment forward, your healing is when you apply patience. Speak gently to yourself. When you apply, you are worthy. Don't fear your greatness and prosperity. Relax and know that all is well. A call to align myself. Trust yourself. You can digest life. Move forward. You are protected always. You can rely on yourself. You need care. Do you understand? That is the meaning. When you take the meaning, you leave behind all the other energies, all the other frequencies dissipate, all the frustration, all the self-sabotage, all the self-criticism, it dissipates because you're taking the meaning. So you have anger, frustration, impatience is a certain frequency. It's just a frequency. When you hear the meaning elevates the lower vibration into the higher frequency of wisdom. So we've applied love, we've applied wisdom. Those two frequencies are going to elevate everything up into its frequency, into its vibration. And that is how you create this inner alignment. And you know you've healed when you've practiced this so much, you feel it. It's a feeling universe. Remember, when you feel it inside, when you begin to feel your worthiness, you begin to feel that sense of trust, and you recognize, I wouldn't have traded this issue for anything. I often use the example of back in the day, I really felt very emotionally disconnected from my mom. And I really wanted an emotional, bonded, intimate, connected experience, to feel seen, to feel like she got me, you know? And as I gave that to myself, and I heard the meanings and the messages that my soul set this up for myself to receive, and as I started receiving the messages became my whole teaching. They became my whole mission. They became my whole message. When you recognize that the meaning that you hear becomes your mission in life, one of your missions, whatever your challenge you're moving through, when it becomes your mission, that's when you know it's healed. Because I wouldn't trade my relationship with my mom. I wouldn't change one aspect. I wouldn't change one dot. I wouldn't change anything because it has brought me exactly where I am right now. So, as you're listening to the meaning, as you're listening to the message, I want to take you through another experiential process. I'm going to read you the lyrics to a song. I want you to just gently close your eyes. This is a song that my husband Jamie wrote and sings, and it's called What If You Knew? So what if it's true that you have everything you need? What if it's true that you could live your wildest dream? Would you run and hide, or would you go along for the ride? Would you test the current and tide in the ocean of possibilities? What if you knew that the brilliance you're mining is you? What if you knew that the infinite's thriving in you? And what if it's true that there's never need for shame? What if it's true that there's power in your pain? What if you knew that the brilliance you're mining is you, and that the infinite's thriving in you? The shadow and light, the yin and the yang, are all part of you. The past is the past. We've all made mistakes. It isn't your truth. What if you knew that your soul is so much larger than you? What if you knew your design is divine? Yes, it's true. What if you knew? What if you knew? All right. So I want us all to just take one moment and unify. So you have your takeaway. You moved yourself from this to this. You take with you the love that you apply to yourself, the message, the meaning, the wisdom, and that's what you bask in. And that will continue to elevate your frequency higher and higher and higher.